Well, I'm getting ready for a dyno pull tomorrow to do a dyno tune on this Cadillac so I can get faster. So I'm doing some things to prepare. Got my K&N filter clean, ready to go. Took off this heat shield right here so I can remove my downpipe. It's got a catted downpipe. There's the heat shield. And here's the off-road racing pipe I'm going to put in its place for dyno day. So, because any kind of a cat provides a lot of EGT, exhaust gas temperature or exhaust temperature, which is bad for the engine. So the less exhaust gas temperature, the faster the exhaust gets out of the vehicle, the better it is the car on dyno, because that really pushes the engine very hard. You're pushing the perimeters really hard. So I'm going to remove this catted downpipe and replace it with my racing catless downpipe so it'll be safe for dyno day. It's a pretty easy downpipe to remove. There's 4 bolts on top, 2 on the bottom. There's the ones on top. You got to disconnect a couple oxygen sensors and then remove and replace the downpipe. And I'm going to do a fresh oil change on this as well, so it's ready for dyno day. Engine is as good as it can be. It's got NGK iridium spark plugs under the coil packs, and they're gapped to 27 thousandths. Usually they go to 30, but I go a little tighter, 27 thousandths spark plug gap, because I'm going to probably be running some pretty high boost on the dyno, and it's going to perform a lot more than it did. So next time I go to Top Gun Raceway, it's probably going to knock at least 2 or 3 seconds off. It's going to be fast, so more to follow. Well, finally got my downpipe put on, put everything back together, and now I'm doing an oil change. So on the Cadillac ATS, it's 5W30 oil, and I'm preparing to go to the dyno, so I want to make sure all my fluids are good to go. And I looked at my oil, it was really dirty, so I'm putting in some nice new 5W30 synthetic oil and an oil filter. So we'll go into here and I'll show you what I had to do. Alright, I took a 15mm wrench and took off the little drain bolt, which is right under the Cadillac. Go under. There's the oil filter. Here's the downpipe I just put on. And there's the oil filter right there. You just unscrew that with this nice little tool right here. This nice little tool. See? Goes inside the oil filter. You unscrew it. Put it on. Just like that. And unscrews the oil filter. There it is. And of course I take off the oil filter. And I took out the oil drain bolt, which is right here. And, well, drained all the oil. Now I'm going to put the oil plug back in, which is right here. Screw it back in. And use the 15mm. Just put it on, not too tight, but a good tightness. I don't like to go too tight. I just kind of hold the middle of the wrench and give it a good push. That's probably around, 30 foot-pounds or so. You don't want to go too tight because then you bust the threads, because it is an aluminum pan. You don't want to bust any threads. Oil filter, hand tight always. That's pretty much how you do the oil change on this Cadillac ATS. Well, of course, I take it off the lift and I put the oil in it. Put the oil in it, and I'm going to find out how many quarts it is, because it really doesn't say anywhere around here. But what I usually do is add 3 quarts. Check the stick. If the stick is about half full, I'll start the engine so it fills the oil filter with oil. I'll just do that for a few minutes. Wait till oil pressure shows up on the dash. Give it a few minutes, shut it off. Check the stick again, and add just a little bit at a time until I get right in the cross hatches, which is in this engine. You kind of look at the oil filter here. Here's my dipstick. And if you look at the side here, let's get a good look at it. See if we can get it to focus on here. Okay, oil stick. Need some light. Oh, dang it. Always need more light. Alright. Here's the stick. This stupid thing will focus enough. Alright. See all those holes? You do not want to be past the last hole. You want to be between that hole and the last hole. So I'd say the third one, between the third and the fourth, is a good place to be, because that will be kind of a cold full. When you get hot, it'll reach that last dot, and there's just a little crosshatch after that last dot. If you can see, I've got it focused in on there. You do not want to be past that last part of the hatch. That little line right there, if you go past it when it's hot, that's where oil leaks start happening. So I would say go between the third and fourth hole, kind of between, or maybe just a hair past the third, and you're at a good range. So of course you never want to be lower than the first hole. So that's how you do the old oil change on this 2018 Cadillac ATS 2-liter turbo engine, LTG. And I'm sure it works for the 13 all the way to 18 as well. So hope this little video helped you out. I'm just preparing for the dyno. One more thing I need to do is fill my gas can with 100 low lead avgas, which is 100 octane. It doesn't have any lead in it. It's good enough for those airplanes with fuel injection and oxygen sensors, so it's good enough for me. I run it in my car. 100 octane is good for turbocharged engines. 91 is pretty much garbage gas. Barely fit for a lawnmower, but that's all we got here in the States. But, you know, you go to other countries, they got 100 right at the pumps. Well, you go to the airport and you look for reciprocating engine fuel, which is avgas. The other stuff you don't put in there. It's called JP fuel. Don't put JP fuel in your gas engine because it's diesel type fuel. It works on jet engines and it works on diesel engines, but it does not work on gas engines. So always put the avgas. If you're gonna fill up a little thing, use a little avgas if you want to have 100 octane fuel, or go buy some VP race gas, which is about, 10 or so a gallon, which VP race gas is awesome. You get 100 octane or more. But I found you can go to the local airport and find those little propeller aircraft that use regular gas engines just like in a car, but they go up in the sky real high, and they use avgas, which is 100 octane. 100 octane is real good for our turbocharged engine, so I like to use at least 5 gallons with every tank of my fuel. So I'll go 5 gallons of avgas, 100 octane, top it off with 91, and I should have a 97, 98 average. Well, just a couple little things I've learned in the long run. I've also run that in my race cars, the cars that I take to the track, the Z, the Turbo Buick, and anything I have a turbo or a supercharger on. I always like to run at least 5 gallons of 100 octane avgas or VP race gas, at least 5 gallons with every tank, so you've got a good mixture. And it's a lot better than 91, so, I figure going to the dyno with at least 5 to 7 gallons of avgas and a little bit of 91, and I should dyno pretty good, and then we'll put a nice tune on it. And of course, since I'm dyno tuning, I'm going to have to keep that same kind of avgas or 100 octane VP race gas mixture with my tank. So, it just takes a little extra work. I got to go and buy some, race gas with every tank of fuel. So, I guess when you want to go and get the best for your engine, that's what you got to do, not just on race day, I guess. I like to go fast all the time, so that's just me. Well, hope you enjoyed this little video here, and we're just in my garage checking out some of my cars. There's the Chevy truck, liking that new lift kit. Chrysler 300 around the corner. Yeah, gotta do a few more things to the 300ZX Turbo. Like put a higher pressure fuel pump to where it can handle a lot more and have a lot more fuel. Need to throw some bigger injectors in there too, and then do some computer tuning. Oh, the job's never done. I'm never done in my garage, so there's always something to do. I'm never bored. So you guys have a great day and mad boosting. Here's the downpipe I removed. It has a very small CAD in it. Has some O2 sensor holders for air fuel ratio and everything. And as you can see it's got a CAD in it. Yeah, see if we can see it. There we go. See the small CAD in there? Small cat. There's the face of it. That's what I removed, and I put a catless one on there. Now this thing is really free flow compared to the factory one. I'll show you the factory cat. It's huge and very restrictive. Now here is the factory cat that came off. Look how big that is. It probably weighs about 20 pounds. It's a great cat for a cat. I mean, for a factory cat, it's not bad, but it's very restrictive and holds a lot of exhaust temperatures to the engine. And not good for the turbocharger, especially if you're pushing it to the limit on a dyno. This is a little bit too much for your engine. A lot of people blow engines because there's so much exhaust temperature and it melts the pistons. And the ring gap totally gets expanded to the point where it just starts chunking pistons. So the best chance at the dyno is putting an off-road catless downpipe on there. And you just use it for the dyno and track day at the racetrack. For regular street driving, either drive this, highly recommended, which is the factory, or this performance catted downpipe, which I removed just for dyno day. But for, daily driving, this is a 3-inch performance catted downpipe. So it has a catalytic converter. So, you're not totally against everything, but, you got a cat, but it frees a lot more, restriction, and it breathes a lot better, and a lot less exhaust temperatures remain with the engine and the turbo. So it's better for your engine. Now, you can do what you want, because every state has its own restrictions and stuff like that. So I highly recommend track use. I mean, this is a good track use cat, but the best one is the catless downpipe for the track. Then when you go back on the street, put a catted downpipe back on, or the factory one if you want to remain good, really good to go. So the factory one is the best for 50 states, but if you're just, street strip, a good catted downpipe. And for the track, catless downpipe, so you get the best optimum performance for your engine. Well, hope this helps some of you guys out. Just make sure you don't drive any of these on the street, especially the catless downpipe, because you drive those on the street, it's not legal, highly not recommended. But, go to the track, run it at the track, and that's the best place to run your car anyway. Well, I hope this helped you out, and have a great day and mad boosting.